And
but it's addicting, right? Like,
all right, last time.
Once you're in there?
Once you're in it, the first 3 weeks, 2 weeks suck.
Yeah, because I think they say it's like 21 days.
And I'm saying, it's better than
no question.
Jack.
Better than you.
Yeah, better.
That pain is
It would be
really
funny if he had
fun
like
to go through, I think.
Queen Jack.
It's
Hip me by 1, literally.
Then it's a push.
Working out feels
But
good.
see,
It takes a while to get
he was the
It's tough,
pre-flop
yeah.
raiser. I don't know
for
if...
sure.
Right.
That's why it's almost
Play
easier to
solid.
get off.
Oh, look at that. This is juicy.
Harder than just staying.
Well, the friction that got me off was poker, right? So
Twist. No, I'm trying to figure it out.
Online, like,
Take your time.
well, I went to college and then it's like freshman 50 was very relevant. So
Oh, really?
do you guys just not believe me or what the hell is going on?
No respect.
Absolutely no respect.
In this episode of Weekly Poker Hand, we have a nice, casual 25, 50, 100, 200 game at Hustler Casino Live. Johnny Vibes, world-class video blogger. He's barely involved in this hand. He raises it up with the King 10 offsuit under the gun +2. Over round to Rob. In the cutoff with Queen 8 of clubs, he decides to bump it up. That's fine every once in a while with the Queen 8 of clubs. You might as well splash around. Over to Jabril. On the button. $18,000 deep with ace 2 of clubs. He decides to call the 2,200. That's probably a little bit too loose. I would rather see a 4-bet or a fold. I'd probably just fold unless Rob is really getting after it. And, I mean, Queen 8 suited is kind of getting after it. Over to Dentist Dave. In the small blind, King Jack of hearts. I would also fold because you're highly likely to be dominated at this point, even though it turns out he's not. Over on to Chris Moneymaker. World Series of Poker main event champion. Let's see what he does with the Queen Jack offsuit.
They told me to raise my stakes and they might believe me. Now everyone's just calling. I've seen it too many times, Mike. I'm an old man.
8,000.
Did Moneymaker just make it 8K with Queen Jack offsuit? He did. That's the stuff world champions are made of.
Chris Moneymaker bumps it up. $8,000 with Queen Jack offsuit for fun. He knows that Rob has nothing. He knows that Jabril has nothing. He knows that Dennis Dave has him dominated, but maybe he'll fold. You might as well try to blast him out of there. I don't mind it. Go for it. Make it 8,000.
What does his buddy Rob want to do with Queen 8?
I don't have card.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is Chris and money, yeah?
Almost 9. Yeah, that's all
we started
like 9:30 we go to?
You should do a weight loss. You crushed it. You lost that much weight already. You kind of like know how to get back into it.
When I was in high school.
Right. But, I mean, maybe you don't do
I've done a lot of weight loss cuts, but I've lost a bunch.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Dave
All right, heads up.
plays rich guy poker. He's not folding King Jack suited for any amount you could make it.
Rob gets the memo and folds once he knows it's his turn. Jabril realizes, okay, no thank you. Cannot compete against the World Series of Poker main event champion. I'm out. Leave me alone. Dennis Dave does not care. Rich guy poker. Let's go to the flop.
So,
Both players flop middle pair.
I had no idea.
I think this is a flop to start pumping the brakes on.
Flop comes ace of spades, jack of diamonds, 3 of spades. Both players have a very clear marginal made hand. Both players let it go. Check. So far, so good.
Moneymaker agrees.
Big enough? Is that the problem?
Brick on the turn.
yeah. Like, just lack of just.
Dennis Dave with an amazing value bet here. This is going to get called.
Call.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
And he only has...
The turn is rather interesting because both players still, at least in my mind, have a very clear marginal made hand. And Dennis Dave's stack is pretty rough at this point. He has $17,000 behind, and the pot is $21,000. He decides to go for a $7,000 bet, though, which Chris Moneymaker does opt to call. I think the problem in general when you bet a hand like King Jack of hearts here is that you're really only going to get called by a jack or better, which, you do beat some jacks, but a jack is somewhat unlikely to begin with. And high equity draws, which you're ahead of, but you don't really love to be against. So you're never going to make an ace fold. You're never going to make a good draw fold. And I think you're going to make a lot of hands like pocket tens and worse and garbage fold almost every single time. So I think in general, Dennis Day would be much better off just checking and then check calling. But, you know, if you're against exactly Queen, Jack, or Jack 10, the bet looks genius. Chris Moneymaker cannot fold. It's a nasty spot for Chris Moneymaker, but, you know, you got a pair. What you gonna do? Let's head to the river.
Less than 10K left, and there's 35K in the middle. Send it in, Dave, for max value against the champion. No. Check. Whoa.
The river is the 4 of hearts. Dennis Dave decides to check, and then Chris Moneymaker takes no time at all to put them all in for his last $10,000. What I want to know is that when a player acts really quickly, like Chris Moneymaker just did on the river, do you think that this generally indicates a value bet or bluff? Take a second, think about it, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, click the like and subscribe button.
Moneymaker goes all in?
Dang it.
Got a call. Yeah, it is max value. That was not a bluff by Moneymaker. Look at Mariano. Happy for his buddy.
Sorry, Chris.
Not expecting to see that. Wow.
7.
Moneymaker. He was going for value. You can't blame him.
Almost done, so I was like,
No, leave me the f out.
no. I was willing to go all in with this hand. That's what I'm saying. I almost shoved
Look at
preflop.
Mariano. He would have played both hands the exact same, and he knows it.
8, 9.
I was gonna call him.
Mariano, you know it.
Put me in.
$9,050.
Don't leave me out of your all right?
5, 7, 8, 9.
Good hand.
Meaning, I was going to.
All right, Blink Check Ben is stoked for his buddy Dennis Dave.
Damn, he called him quick, too.
Put a double D in the chat if you like double Ds. I mean, if you like Dennis Dave.
$50,000 pot. He's gonna pull for 5,000.
You did all the work.
Can't
man.
call anything.
What do you bet? How much do you bet? 10,000?
8,000.
Hey, an easy call.
No, it's not an easy call, but it was like
tough.
There's like 5,000 in the pot, and he had 6,000 left.
Hey,
You only got a jab.
it is what it is.
He had a nut shot.
When someone acts very quickly, I think it usually means they knew what they were going to do ahead of time. Meaning, if they let it go check immediately, they just knew they were not going to bet. Which will often be the case with medium strength hands. And to be fair, I'm kind of surprised that's not what happened in this scenario. But I think players like Chris Moneymaker, who are good, strong players who are good at generally exploiting opponents, I think when they make a play very quickly, they to some extent are saying, I think this play is going to induce whatever I want to have happen. And I think most people are going to think if you just instantly load your money in, you probably have a good hand. Therefore, I think this is very often going to be a bluff from strong creative players who like to level their opponents. So if it's likely to be a bluff, what should you do? Well, the answer is you should find a call, which is exactly what Dennis Dave does in this situation. I think it was a good call because he's getting amazing pot odds, plus maybe he either does not care about Chris Moneymaker's tell/reverse tell here, or maybe he actually knows what's going on. If you are someone who does make these very abnormal plays in an exploitative manner, you have to know with a high degree of certainty your opponents are going to play like you expect them to play. And as you play more and more on live streams or against the same players on a regular basis, you can't go around using the same leveling type plays on a regular basis because your opponents are going to pick up on that and they're going to absolutely crush you. So while plays like this snap all in may get a lot of folds initially, I think that if anything, it may work very against you as time moves forward and as your opponents have studied footage of you or played against you more and more on a regular basis. So be careful with that. That said, Chris Moneymaker does decide to turn his queen jack into a bluff to try to get under pairs to the ace to fold and also to get bad aces to fold. It certainly does not work this time because the king jack gobbles it right up. That's me for today. If you enjoyed today's video, again, click the like and subscribe button down below. Good luck in your games, have fun, and when you run a bluff, I hope they don't call you by 1 pip better.